Welcome to the Corporate Governance Program. I'm Amir Qureshi. Thank you for joining us. A quick reminder, this program is brought to you by the International Finance Corporation in association with Business Plus, the IFC, promoting good governance in Pakistan. In previous episodes, we've talked about various aspects of corporate governance. Today, we're going to recap on some of the key issues and look at some of IFC's initiatives to promote corporate governance in Pakistan. Joining me is our special guest, Mr. Kaisar Naseem, the project manager of Pakistan Corporate Governance Project. Thank you very much for being on the program.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure, as always.
In previous episodes, we've talked about lots of different things and talked to a number of board members, CEOs, etc. And one of the key things that keeps coming up is the responsibility of being a director. What do you think are some of the things that directors need to think about when they're offered a position on a board, or if someone who's already sitting on a board? What are the key considerations they should look at?
Well, yes, if you recall, I think the very first episode we had brought out the point that amongst the various stakeholders, the ones that are responsible for ensuring good corporate governance or have more responsibility for that is the board of directors, because firstly they're ideally placed between the shareholders and management, and secondly because they comprise of a body of individuals who should have the skills and the know-how and the knowledge to resolve these conflicts which come about because of this agent-management, principal-agent relationship. So yes, there are a lot of responsibilities that the board has to take upon itself, and therefore, it is very essential that before they do that, they need to make sure of 4 or 5 key issues or key questions that they need to ask themselves and perhaps the other board members. One is that, is there a commitment to good corporate governance? That is the first and foremost.
Commitment on part of the board as well.
On part of the board, because if they are responsible for implementing good corporate governance, they need to be committed to the cause and have a very good understanding of why these good corporate governance practices need to be adhered to. So you need to ensure that that's there. And then secondly, you also have to ensure that the composition of the board is right in terms of the needs and requirements of that particular company.
Can you actually elaborate on that? When we talk about the composition of the board, exactly what do you mean?
Well, composition of the board means that does it comprise the right skill mix, firstly, of individuals, because it depends, the right skill mix would depend on the type of institution or company. But do the directors possess the right qualifications, the right background in terms of experience, the right amount of being able to take decisions, removing themselves from the company and, take independent decisions. So you need to have a mix of these skills. You need to have a mix of this independence of mind, and therefore the concept of independent directors.
We'll talk a little bit more about the training initiatives that IFC has been undertaking. I believe that is obviously one way of ensuring that you've got the right mix if people have been appropriately trained.
It's a very important component of IFC's initiatives or interventions to improve corporate governance, the training part. And the reason for that is that, there's a lot of emphasis, like I was just mentioning earlier, and it's come out, I think, in all the previous episodes, that a lot of importance is placed on independent directors. And the reason for that, again, I'll just elaborate, is because independent directors can give suggestions or make improvements independent of the company. So they're not really effective, so they're not really biased by working in the company. And that sometimes, as we all know, through experience, brings in a new perspective, brings in a lot of value to companies. Now, one reason given that why independent directors are not sitting on boards in Pakistan, on companies in Pakistan, although some companies have started doing that. And you would also notice in the Code of Corporate Governance, there's no mention of independent directors. And the reason is that there aren't many directors available who have the requisite qualifications and are independent. And hence, training provides individuals with the ability to gain knowledge of corporate governance issues, firstly, and then to be able to possess the ability to sit on boards of companies as independent directors. So there's this initiative of the board development series, and we've heard a lot about that. You've actually spoken with directors who've gone through this series and now certified, internationally accredited as certified directors. So over a period of time, there should be a body of such directors available to sit as independent directors. So that's one part of training. Training is also initiated for other stakeholders, such as service providers. The reason for that is that there's been an increase in the demand for corporate governance services by the Pakistani corporate sector, be it family-owned enterprises, state-owned enterprises, or listed companies. And again, I would like to think the reason for that is the intervention which IFC has been able to undertake over the last couple of years. However, there are not enough resources available to provide or meet that demand for services. And hence, one of our focus areas is to build the capacity of service providers to training, so that over a period of time you have accountants, you have lawyers who are out there able to provide corporate governance services. So that's one part of our training. The third area is students. So we are working with several universities today to introduce a curriculum on corporate governance for final year MBA students or law students. Like the seminar today, for example, is with the Punjab Law College. So it actually addresses lawyers. And basically the idea is that this future crop of business managers, of media personalities, of judiciary, of government servants should be aware of corporate governance. And hence when they walk into the corporate world, they are able to tackle these issues more effectively. So hence a lot of emphasis. Also whether there is sufficient internal controls available in the company that the directors are serving, on the board of who the directors are serving. So they need to make sure that there are adequate controls and internal processes. There is a system of accountability of the directors towards the shareholders, and a system of enabling the board of directors to have an effective oversight over management. So internal audit, for example. So they need to make sure that these processes are in place.
One of the questions that keeps coming up, or the issues that people have raised as part of our program, is that there is no protection given to the internal auditor under the Code of Corporate Governance. And furthermore, there are no minimum qualifications for the head of internal audit. Do you think that's an area that needs looking at?
Actually, again, that's an area which has come up time and time again, and I think even on this program that we've had. Internal audit is a very, very important function.
Can I just stop you there for 1 second, because we need to take a short commercial break, but we'll be right back with more of the corporate governance program, so don't go away.